Hello and welcome, everybody, to the Angelic Footprints podcast. I have another special guest with me today. Her name is Kim Somers Egelsee, and she is a keynote and TEDx speaker, a 14 times best-selling author, an intuitive life and business coach, and co-founder of Publishing Joy. She's got an amazing background, and I'm so looking forward to speaking with Kim today and let her tell you all about her angelic experiences. But wait, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Kim, welcome. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, and thank you for having me on your show. I'm so excited. You already said some of it. I have been on a spiritual journey for since I was 23 and now I'm 52. And so I've done a lot of the ascension work and just continuously working on divine connection and hearing from the angels and doing intuitive readings for people for over 22 years now. And then I also do life and business coaching. I did have a podcast called Talk, Purpose, and Truth, and we still get quite a few listeners. Um, and my most favorite thing is helping women have a platform to shine their unique gifts through writing, speaking, and media.
Kim, we have a lot in common, and Kim and I met when hubby and I were living in LA as well. So we have that wonderful connection there. So thank you, Kim. You've had a number of angelic experiences. Would you like to tell us about some of those, please?
Yeah, I actually would love to share how it all began. It's a really cute, wonderful story. My grandmother, who's no longer on earth with us, she had gone through cancer. And so she ended up miraculously recovering and being great and healing from it. But during the cancer experience, she was in the hospital and they made her share a room with a woman and they started to kind of chat and become very close. And in the middle of the night, she was laying there kind of at like 4 in the morning, kind of just awake, mind racing. And she looks up and she saw six little light filled angel figures that looked just like a traditional angel, but small. And they were circling above her. And it kept going for at least a minute. And she's just like, she never had anything like that before. And so she was just kind of like, whoa, am I imagining this? Am I crazy? But she felt this sense of peace and warmth. And then she fell asleep. And the next morning, her roommate said, Jan, I'm going to ask you something strange. At around 4 in the morning, did you see these six little angel figures circling? And my grandma got chills and they talked about it and they both had this beautiful bond of seeing the exact same thing. And obviously that happened on purpose because they wanted the validation so that they would believe and feel supported. And not long after that is when my grandma got better. And so after that, she became fascinated with the angelic realm and bought books and talked about it and read about it and would have other angel experiences. And so that in turn made me fascinated back then with the angelic realm. And I didn't really start learning more about it and reading about it and having experiences myself until I was in my 20s and 30s. But it's interesting because now her book, that was her favorite angel book, which I have here. It's called Ask Your Angels. And it was written quite a while ago, but it's a really powerful book, and there's another book as well. And I ended up later using the book because it had exercises to do with clients with using your angels to heal people. And I had powerful healing with these people using the exercises from the book that was originally my grandma's.
Right. How interesting is that? Now, tell me the author of that book. I'm just wondering if I happen to know the author.
Yeah, this one is actually by three people: Alma Daniel, Timothy Wiley, and Andrew Raymer. And I've read a
Interesting.
lot of different books on angels, and this one is still I really think this one is unique. It was written in 92 and it's Random House Books, but it just has pretty much every single topic you can think of with angels. I mean, it even has like how to release, how to converse with them, how to write letters and dream with your angels, using angels in recovery. I mean, it just has like really, really beautiful topics.
It definitely sounds it, Kim. Yeah. And isn't it interesting how it takes one experience to really delve into that topic and it so much changes the path that you maybe thought that you had planned out for yourself and then, oh, all of a sudden, no, we upstairs, we've got a different idea for you. How about you work with us for a bit and we'll see where that goes,
Exactly.
right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and she couldn't just brush it off as a coincidence or her imagination because her roommate saw the exact same thing.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And 6, and I've never heard of them being like that. And as you say, quite small, but obviously, given to us in a way that she can recognize and she can then identify with that. Kim, have you got some more experiences? I'm sure our viewers and listeners would love to hear more.
Yeah, so after and I too have never seen them like that. That was for her, and I think they show up sometimes differently for different people. And so after that,
Yeah.
several years later, I had started meditating and wanting to have my own angel experiences. And so there was this one evening where I was meditating and I had read that you can just start to ask, I feel ready. Can I ask for these angel experiences or can I communicate with my angels? And so I happened to now I know it was an intuitive message, but I was just coming into learning that I was intuitive and, or that's what you called it. And so I said, can I know my angels' names? And all of a sudden I felt this warmth and this peace. And I heard all of my angels' names. And they were names that I would have never known or come up with on my own. And so still I talked to those angels. And so it was Angelo, Umbriel, Abigail, Claudio, and Pietro. And they're not
Oh,
they're not the
goodness.
traditional archangels, they're just my angels, but I looked it up and those are, like, old school Italian names, and I didn't really
Wow.
even know those names except maybe Abigail here in America, and so I was like, "Oh, wow, that couldn't have come from me." And so then soon after that, now I see angels in the form of lights. And so I don't know how many listeners have that experience, but it'll be during specific times, like when I'm asking for guidance or when someone's talking about something really important or spiritual or deep or needing guidance. And I'll see little circles of different colors. Sometimes I'll see big white lights. Sometimes I'll see light. Like I've seen where I've had, this is kind of crazy, but I've had for like 5 minutes straight, I've seen purple light all over, like everywhere I'm driving, like over the cars, over the mountains, I mean, to the point where I'm like, I'm not imagining this. This is really happening. And so I've had many different experiences with seeing angels, but a lot of times they'll come in for confirmation. Like if I'm doing a reading or talking to someone, I'll be like, oh, I just saw blue light above your head for 20 seconds, things like that. And so I think that is beautiful. And then there were some times, like one time I saw an actual angel shaped figure very clearly, but it was really large. Like it was like a large white angel in the room that I was in. And it was long enough to where, sometimes you think you're imagining, but it was long enough to where I was very clear headed and I was like, wow, I've never seen it like this before. So yeah, that's been a beautiful thing. And I see them daily. And so I love that because I feel very supported all the time.
Yeah. And I must admit that's what I love about it too. I get messages in some way pretty much daily myself and not quite in the same form that you do. And I think it's great that it's different because as I've said before, we have to identify it in a way that we recognize, that we can work with it, or that we say, okay, yeah, that makes absolute sense. That's exactly how I would see an angel. And why wouldn't that be different for different people? I'd just like to share a funny experience with you. But I do want to ask you a question as well. Remind me to ask you about Italy. But the funny experience is we happened to just recently go to Italy on vacation, and I love angel numbers. Now, for me, the number 11 is very strong as in terms of an angel number. And we're taking the Eurostar from London across to Paris. Well, our carriage got changed on the way to from London to Paris. All of a sudden, we were in coach 11, seats 11 and 12. And it was like, "Yep, okay, I gotcha. Thank you so much for giving me that message." But that does bring me on to a question. Thank you, you didn't need to remind me after all. Is there a particular affinity with Italy for you that when you asked for your angels' names, you got all of the Italian sounding names? So I'm curious, how does that have a particular, resonance with you, even if it's kind of like a past life experience?
Yeah, I think I just have this, like, out of anywhere I've ever been, and now I've been to Italy many times, but I had been to Italy, and I feel this just extra divine connection in Italy, and I'm on this new kind of energy that I've never felt anywhere else, except maybe I would say here in the US, there's only one place that has similar energy, and it's Mount Shasta, California, and it's for those of you who don't know about Mount Shasta, it's the one of the most powerful energy vortexes in the world. And so you literally feel a buzzing when you're there, like all the time, if you're in, aligned and connected. And there's a lot of angelic communication and spirit communication there in Mount Shasta and other things, that are interesting there. And so in Italy, I feel like I just have this extra divine connection, receive extra messages there. And so it's interesting because I had not yet been to Florence. And now, having been to Florence, I would say anywhere I've ever been in my life, that is the most connected that I feel in Florence. So it makes sense now why the names would be Italian.
Yeah. I thought so, and it's so funny how you talk about Mount Shasta. It's on my list of places to go, and it gets mentioned on a few, documentaries and exactly in regards to that spiritual aspects, and various others. But yes, it's on the bucket list to go to Mount Shasta. Kim, if you, work with clients, I heard you mention that you do also work with angels as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Um, do you specifically ask for specific angels, or do you just allow whoever it is to come in? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so when I use them specifically when I am doing an intuitive reading or sometimes during life coaching when someone needs deep healing work. And so usually I'll call in their angels and I'll say, may all beings come in with only love and light that are divinely connected, and please allow their angels to come in. And often I'll know, especially because I will receive, like, I'll use oracle cards that are angel cards. These are specific ones that I really like. They're called Angel Blessings by Kimberly Maroney. I really like those. But I also get messages, and I often know that it's not me because I will channel paragraphs and information, and it will be things that I don't even know what it means. And then I will look it up, and it will be, symbolism or something related to that person that made complete sense to them and is the message that they needed to receive. And so I love that because I never know what's going to come through. But one of the things I really love doing is from that book that my grandma gave me. And you basically go through this list of things that are holding you back. And so it may be like, for example, unworthiness, criticism, anger, grief, blame, guilt, all kinds of, there's all these different ones. So I go through the list if that person needs healing. And then let's say they have like 6 things that are just really stuck in them, like they're just full of guilt, for example. Then I guide them through an angel exercise. We call upon the angels Very often they will get goosebumps and feel the feeling of them being there. Often I see them as well, the lights around the person, or even through the phone on the Zoom, if we're on Zoom. And then we go through basically a releasing exercise where we do a visualization. They sometimes go back to their inner child and talk to their inner child. And then we go through releasing it. And it actually ends up with a form of breath work where they're actually breathing out the emotion. And then we do a clearing. And so there's a lot of angelic help with that because it's very deep and intense. But I've had amazing feedback from people later saying, I feel like I released pounds of baggage, emotional baggage and different things. So it's very powerful in that way.
It sounds it. And thank you for sharing that because I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that there will be viewers and listeners out there who that really connects with. And I know we're going to talk about, providing your details and how to connect with you. So for any of you viewers and listeners who are listening to what Kim does with her clients and that really connects into you and it sounds like something that you might like to work with Kim, then please do that. Kim, having angels in your life, how would you say that that has influenced your life?
I definitely feel lighter and more joyful. Even during times I had times in my life where I really was feeling like I hit bottom and I felt almost like I was going to die. I had some experiences and I always called upon the angels and it always gave me that faith that I was going to come out of it and that I even saw different visions and things like that where I just kept moving forward and not feeling like I was just going to fall apart and give up, even in times where it was really bad. So it's definitely helped in that way. But it also I just am one like you that sees the angel numbers. I often see signs, from them in the universe. Sometimes it might even be like a cloud shaped like a heart or I get intuitive messages like, once in a while just suddenly get like, "Okay, you're going to hear this song, and that means we're here watching over you." And it will be this random song, like recently it was "We Are Family" by Sister Sledge, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden, that song will start to come on and during really important times, like I'm about to receive a message from an important client, and the song comes on right before, and then the answer is something positive. And so I love it because it makes life so much more fun and joyful and exciting. And I believe that life is supposed to be like that. I have a friend who's a unity minister, and he says life is supposed to be like Disneyland, and we're supposed to just be filled with joy. It's just sometimes the humans that make it not that way, but we can choose to live that way despite whatever's going on in the world. And I feel like angels definitely help make life lighter.
That is such a beautiful philosophy, Kim, and I hope that you all can take that on board. It's a lovely way of looking at life. And I know that there are times when we have challenges, whether it's got to do with our work or our relationships or, what's going on out there. And if we can take away a little bit of that positivity that you've sprinkled into this podcast, then I think that's such a beautiful blessing. Thank you for sharing that, Kim. Kim, have you got something that you would like to share with our viewers and listeners in terms of a book or a workshop or something that you are promoting?
I'm really big like talking about angels. I'm very big on experiencing joy, and that's why my publishing company is called Publishing Joy. Both my partner and I have the middle name Joy. And so we actually have a book coming out next month called Discover the Gift of Joy: How to Experience Joy in Work, Life, and Relationships. We have a big red carpet book launch happening in California. And so just look for that book. It's going to be out on May 16th, and so excited about that. And if you want to find out more, you can just go to my website. It's kimsomerseggelsee.com.
That sounds exciting. I so wish I could jump on a plane and be there. But like I said, I've just been away. So that sounds super exciting. And I really wish you all the very best for that book launch. Kim, thank you so much. You mentioned your website. How can people connect with you, like via socials? Do you have any connections there that you would like to share with us, please?
Sure, you can find me on Instagram at Kim Life Coach or Facebook under facebook.com/Kim Life Coach.
Wonderful. Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your insights are so valuable, and I'm sure that there will be viewers and listeners out there who will have gained a lot from listening to what you have given in this particular podcast. And I do really value your time. Any final additional thoughts that you would like to share with us?
I think to not doubt yourself. Like, if you decide that you're ready and you feel like you want to be more divinely connected or speak to angels, just being receptive and open and saying I'm ready and I'm willing, a lot of times that's going to activate it, and you can shut it off if you feel like, you don't want anything dark coming in that you don't want to know. Like, I don't like to hear about someone's illness or something like scary, so I say, please give me with peace and grace what I can handle, and that's what you'll receive.
Yeah, and that reminds me when we were living in Australia, I did a course on how to connect with situations in a criminal kind of sense. And I know that people do some awful, awful things to each other. And because I'm a very sensitive person, I said, don't ever give me the emotions around
Mm.
this. Like, I just wouldn't be able to cope. Give it to me in the form of a report where I can read it and it just becomes factual. And then that's how I'll have my information. So definitely take the information, how you can cope with it. And definitely, if there's something that worries you, then you can ask for it to stop. Absolutely. Kim, for some reason, I've got you twice
I
on the
know.
screen. Never mind. How bizarre. Maybe everybody needs to see two of you. I don't know. That's beautiful. Kim, it's been such a pleasure having you on the program. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, and your wisdom. Back we are with one of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much again. For all our viewers and listeners, thank you once again for tuning into another episode of Angelic Footprints. If you liked this particular show, then please consider giving a 5-star review on the platform where you are listening. And if you happen to know any people who could benefit from any of the messages that have come through here today, then please share it with 3 people who you know that could benefit from this. In the meantime, wishing you all the very best. May your life be filled with hope and inspiration.